I've always wanted to be a designer. My mom is a designer. Seeing her, although it was an amazing experience to work with. You know what? Try helping the client as much as possible, and no matter what the situation is, you're not supposed to get.
So today on How I Got the Job, we have Niti. She's a fashion consultant, designer, and also the founder of one of the very first clothing brands in India that provides reversible and reusable clothes, as well as it's 100% made in India and a sustainable clothing brand. To know more about the amazing idea that led to venturing into this industry, we'll talk to Niti about it. So, welcome, Niti.
Oh, thank you, India. Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction.
My pleasure. So, first things first, like, how did the interest spike in you? Like, what was it about fashion that got you?
What was it about fashion? I think fashion is, I've always wanted to be a designer. My mom is a designer. Seeing her, I've always been very inclined towards creativity, I would say. And
Mhm.
yes, I'll be honest, 3 in 1 is not something that was always there on my mind because I've been in the field of fashion for almost 15 years. But
Yeah,
with time, we did see this particular, you know, uh, brand grow and come into existence.
that's lovely. So, like, before you starting with your own brand, you were in the industry. So, what were you doing back then? Like, how did you start off in this industry?
Oh, I've done a lot of things. I started off with interning at an export house, a couple of export houses actually. And
Okay.
then I joined my mom as an Indian wear designer. So
Okay.
she's got a label of her own which specializes
Mhm.
in Indian wear. And I started off working with her. And that was
Okay.
quite a bit of a journey. Then I moved to Milan to complete my master's in fashion design. And then I also got lucky because I got this opportunity to work there as an embroidery
Mhm.
designer. So I was working
Okay.
in Italy as an embroidery designer, which was honestly a complete dream job. I was absolutely loving it. But then certain things happened around me which led to, like for me to leave that job and come back and start 3 in 1.
Okay.
From an Indian wear designer to an embroidery designer to being a Western wear designer now.
Yeah,
I've just
yeah,
been
yeah.
hopping around places.
Yeah, and apart from like the variations in the designs of your clothes, like you mentioned, your mom had a clothing brand of her own and you worked and assisted her there. So how did that experience help you when it came to starting your own clothing brand or your own label?
Oh, I think there were two different experiences altogether because my mom's vision is very different from mine.
Okay.
And although it was an amazing experience to work with her because as much as
Yeah,
people think that, oh, it's so cool to work with a mother and it's gonna be like a chill scene. Honestly, there was nothing chill about it. She was literally the girl boss, and
uh-huh.
she taught me a lot of things. And I think the biggest learning that I got from her was of how to deal with Indian clients and Indian aunties. And
Mhm.
she always had this rule that, you are never supposed to make a client or a customer feel that you're getting annoyed or unhappy with something, even if you are. And you're always
Mhm.
supposed to respect them no matter what. So I think that was one of the biggest learnings that I've got from her.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely helped me with my brand because,
Yeah.
it always stayed there with me that, what, try helping the client as much as possible. And no matter what the situation is, you're not supposed to get
Yeah.
annoyed. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Also, like from working on Indian wears and Indian fits to now transitioning completely into Western fits and more like a casual look, as I would like to put it out. So, how different is it as an experience from the perspective of a designer and also like from the perspective of somebody who is producing these and selling these as an owner?
Uh, it is very different. Like we all know that Indian wear is very colorful, it's very
Yeah, yeah,
vibrant,
yeah.
it's got drapes, it's got falls, it's got embroideries, it's just all
Yeah.
over. So
Uh-huh.
obviously there is still a part of me which loves doing Indian wear designing. But yes, Twee is a very different league altogether where we completely focus on Western wear and we're supposed to mellow down and not have embroideries. And,
Yeah.
especially with Twee, we can't afford to have a lot of embroideries. But having lived in Europe for quite some time, especially like a fashion capital, I
Yeah, yeah,
think that
yeah.
has also got me those kind of aesthetics where I do understand of how to um, mellow down and not show the Indian side of me in the clothes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I
Okay.
do I do keep a good difference between both the brands.
Oh, yeah. So, like you mentioned, transitioning from Indian to going to pursue your master's and coming back and starting your brand. So, like, how did you source for the initial resources, be it the clothing, the raw materials, the designs? How were the initial things? How did you get the initial workflow started at Two in One?
So honestly, fabrics was not a challenge for me because
Mhm.
since I had been working in the industry for a while, I did have
Yeah,
quite a few contacts around me. So
yeah,
getting the raw materials arranged wasn't a challenge. I think the only challenge that I faced was getting the right team in place because
mm-hmm.
since reversible and convertible clothes like this don't exist in the market, it was
Yes,
very difficult for me to get my technical team together and to sit with them and to explain them that something like this can exist.
yeah,
At one point of time, they did think that I'm crazy to be doing this, but obviously I never gave
exactly.
up. And with
Uh-huh.
time, they did give in and be like, okay, you know what? We know she's crazy, but she's doing some good job, so let's support her. So I
Okay.
think that was a challenge, but we did overcome it. And thankfully, yes, that's good. We've had a brilliant team with us for the past 4 years, and they are my strength. They are my pillars. So yeah.
That's lovely. Also, like this whole idea of reversible and convertible clothings, please tell us and take us through this entire plan and how does all this happen and where did this idea stem from in the first place?
So this idea came in from a very basic situation, which I think all of us as women come across.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually true that back, a few years ago when I was working in Italy, um, I had one single room in an office apartment that was given to me, and
Yeah.
that literally had like one wardrobe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So being in a fashion city, you are supposed to be dressing nice, or you want to dress up nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
every
yeah,
morning I would open my wardrobe and like, damn, I have nothing to wear today. I'm again going to repeat my clothes to the office. What do
yeah,
I
yeah,
do? And by the end of the day, when I would come back and I would see like a pile of clothes on my bed, I'd be like, okay, where am I supposed to keep these?
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
clearly, I never had clothes to wear. I never had the place to keep them. And then, being in Italy, I would love to travel, but
Yeah.
low cost airlines wouldn't allow me to check in my bags. So how do you carry bags? Because obviously, I wanted my social media to look pretty perfect. I'm in Europe. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, who doesn't want Instagram worthy
Yeah,
pictures?
yeah,
But again, that was quite disappointing because I
yeah.
wasn't
Mm-hmm.
being able to do that.
Yeah,
And then at one day, with time I started realizing that probably I'm not the only one complaining about these. There are a
yeah,
lot of people around me who've been complaining literally about the same thing every second day.
yeah,
And
yeah,
with time I started gathering more information and my research got stronger on this.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
there was a point of time when I was really convinced that listen, it's okay to be in the fashion industry, but I don't want to be
Yeah.
just a designer. I want to be a
Okay.
problem solver. And
Mm-hmm.
with time, I also started realizing that, what, I know the problems now, but what could be the best solution for these? So
Yeah,
that is
yeah, yeah.
how reversible and convertible came into picture because that was the
Mm-hmm.
easiest option where, you would limit down the space for your clothes, but
Yeah.
it gave you more styles to wear. At the same
Mm-hmm.
time, even if you traveled, you would carry literally like three pairs of garments and have like 6 to 7 different looks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, everything started like all the dots started joining one after the other.
Mm-hmm.
And we just felt that it could be something where women would be happy. They wouldn't have too many reasons to complain. They could
Yeah,
get ready faster. They could
yeah, yeah.
travel light.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the story of Twee, and yes, we are proud because there are a lot of women around us who who we've been making happy, and we've
Yeah.
been giving them a reason to smile.
That's lovely. Also, like once the idea has stemmed, then the next process is to get it working and starting off the practical approach. Like with the ideation phase, a lot of people have their hopes up high, but when you start working towards it, it becomes way more harder than what you think of it initially. And considering your idea in itself was very unique and already had a set of challenges, something never done before. So, how did the practical approach or the phase of like bringing it to life was?
Our first prototyping and sampling took forever. I wouldn't
Uh-huh.
lie, because it was supposed to be too good to be true. We were trying to incorporate two separate styles together.
Yeah,
Although
yeah, yeah.
thankfully, because my technical skills in pattern making and garment making and construction is
Yeah.
very strong, so I would
Uh-huh.
sit with my team like so much, and like for days together, we would be sitting together, working on it, getting things in place of how could we make it come together, and
Yeah.
how could we still make sure that it's comfortable, but we're not losing the style, where
Mm-hmm.
the fabrics are falling well. So a lot of back and forth went around, a lot of prototyping went in place. We did take a couple of months to figure all of that out, but
Okay.
we did achieve that. But I think our next challenge that came into picture was not like getting the product live, but how
Yeah.
to sell it was, or how to
Uh-huh.
convince people that something like this could exist
Yeah.
was our biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm. Then, yeah, coming to the third stage, that is marketing and finding
Yeah.
your audience. How did that happen? Like, was it that hard initially, or did you find a digital audience? How was it?
No, it was very, very, very difficult because people doesn't want to believe it. I mean,
Yeah,
no matter how much we tried explaining them,
yeah,
pumping money in the sponsored ads or doing anything
yeah,
around, it was just so difficult because we would get calls like, oh, we saw your website, the product looks too cool, but it's too good to be true. So, we would want to
uh,
get on a video call with you or see it, or we would want to come
uh-huh,
somewhere and physically see it.
yeah,
So we did get people, like we heard something like that all the time. We
mm-hmm,
still know that, there are still a huge set of audience who want to see our product physically, just to make
yeah,
sure that something like that actually exists
yeah,
before they buy it. Even if our reels are trending, there is, okay, there are people who are believing in us now thanks to the reels, and I would definitely thank Instagram for that.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's okay.
Initially,
I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, it's okay. We're getting there. Step by step, we are, trying to find our ways to tell people that we
yeah.
do make clothes that can exist.
Mm-hmm. Like how long did it take to get your first customer on board? Was it hard to convince, or was it like an easy job, like one to two calls?
I wouldn't lie. We did get our first customer on the very second day of our launch.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't so hard, and a stranger. So I would like, it's not like family or friends buying out your clothes.
Yeah.
We did have a stranger who did buy out one of our garments, and
Mm-hmm.
but again, the similar process, they happened to spot us on Instagram, and they did reach out to us saying, oh, we saw your product, but we would want to get on a video call with you. So we did get on like a Skype call with them. We showed them the product. We were like, oh, this is how it functions, and this is what it looks like. And yes, that's how we got our first order.
That's
So getting in
lovely.
a couple of orders here or there was happening, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't something where we could have seen like an order a day or 10 orders a day sort of a thing. No, that
Yeah.
drill wasn't really happening.
Yeah. And like, how long did it take to pace up and then a proper set of audience reaching out to you and buying your products?
Well, so we also realized this soon enough that only digital presence might not be very helpful. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did started participating in a few offline events,
Mm-hmm.
and thankfully we also got an opportunity where we were getting invited to showcase our collections at certain
That's
offline events.
lovely.
So
Mm-hmm.
that surely got easy because we knew that, people wanted to see our product physically. So
Yeah.
that surely helped us. And, then obviously through my publicity and through references, we did started getting in a few sales very easily.
That's lovely. Also, like Niti coming up with such a unique idea. First thing, they are convertible and reversible. Second thing, they are like very uh, temperature friendly and casual type of looks. So, like, is there ever a point when you reach like a creative block and you're like, what more designs can I do with so many barriers? Or, I mean, not like essentially barriers, but to incorporate a lot of styles into this particular clothing
Mm.
venture is quite a tough job. So, how do you get through those creative blocks?
I think thankfully I've never had a creative block as such.
Uh-huh.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Secondly, with each collection that we produce, we try making sure that we don't have more than 15 styles to offer. Sole reason
Okay.
being because each style ends up having more than 2 to 3 different looks. So,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't want to confuse our audience by just giving them
Okay.
too many options together.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that what we believe in doing is we don't believe in following seasons of a spring, summer, or an autumn, winter, like
Okay.
a typical fashion calendar. But
Mm-hmm.
every product that we create comes from a real life problem or a story or situation that we hear around us.
Okay.
So that is how all our products come into existence. I mean, if I just give you a quick example, um, we did make this one skirt which actually
Mm-hmm.
transforms into a pair of shorts.
Oh.
And that got developed only because we had this girl who had reached out to us one time saying, you know what, Niti, I need a product where my skirts can become my shorts. And I was like, why do you
Mm-hmm.
want that? And
Yeah.
she was just like, every time I'm off to Goa, I can't decide whether to wear skirts or shorts. And the day
Okay.
I wear skirts, I land up in an adventurous place. And
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, damn, I should have worn my shorts. And the day I wear my shorts, thinking, okay, it's going to be an adventurous day, I'll end up doing nothing and just chilling at the shack. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, I wish I could have worn my skirts. I would have looked cute
Uh-huh.
and had some nice story, like, some nice pictures. So
Okay.
she was like, I want that perfect balance where I don't have to regret at the end of the day of not
Mm-hmm.
wearing the right garment. And at the
Okay.
same time, I'm just like looking perfect depending on wherever I am. So
Yeah.
we do come across a lot of stories like that, on a daily basis. I mean,
Uh-huh.
there are billions of women across the globe, and
Yeah.
every woman has a different situation to be in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what my belief is that, what, Niti, you are a problem solving brand,
Mm-hmm.
gather a problem, find a solution. That's
Yeah.
the best way to work around this brand and, like get the chain sorted.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I mean, coming back to your question, thankfully, I've never had a creative block thanks to stories around me. But,
Yeah.
and I hope I never do, but let's see.
With this answer of yours, I got the answer to my next question. That was going to be what inspires you to design, and like it's the stories around you. And the one that
Yes.
you shared is actually quite interesting, and also I can also relate to it. And I'm sure a lot of people watching this interview can too, because yeah, beach scenes and skirts and shorts is a life problem everybody goes through.
Yes.
And that was a very interesting story. I would like to know, like, if you can tell me one or two more stories like that, or any product in your brand that has stemmed from your story or a problem of yours.
Oh, so one of our bestseller products, as a lot of people know, is the Summer 4-in-1 dress right now, which is
Yeah.
actually a dress that could also be reversed and also could be converted into this pull-up dress where, it looks like a jumpsuit. And
Okay.
the sole reason of why that particular dress exists is because I did have a few friends, and they used to love wearing these short party jumpsuits and rompers and things around.
Okay.
And their biggest nightmare was that, what, we're wearing a dress throughout the day, whether we're at the office or we're, you know, just on a holiday. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, when I want to go clubbing or I want to step out for a party, I do not want to be in a dress look because I've been wearing a dress all day long. I want to look different. I
Yeah.
want to look sexy.
Okay.
So how do you change your look? And that's
Mm-hmm.
what brought us to making that particular piece, because
Okay.
every girl does like to feel different at the end of the day. She
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't want to
Yeah.
convert her dress saying, oh, I've just converted my dress, or I've
Yeah.
just reversed my dress. I don't want to wear a dress once I'm finishing the day. So what do I
Mm-hmm.
do? So, that's how that product came into picture. And initially, when we started off, we were making only a convertible piece, which was a
Yeah.
dress that got transformed into a jumpsuit look. But
Uh,
later, with Summer 4-in-1, we also tweaked it a little more. And we also gave that option that even the dress could reverse inside out. So you didn't have just two looks, but four looks in the same
Polo.
garment.
Oh my
Yes.
God. That's
So
like,
we just made it more fun for people.
mm-hmm. Also, like with this 4-in-1, I have memories and nostalgia hitting me where kids used to have this, like, especially in the boys section, we used to find this where they give jackets and then an insert or a vest. But with girls, it was very hard to find dresses like that. And especially in
Yes.
adults, this was totally unspoken about for a very long time. I'm glad your brand is doing
Correct.
this. Also, like,
Thank
I
you.
was going through your Instagram page and your brand's Instagram handle today, and I got to see that y'all are soon going to venture into kids fashion as well. So, can you talk to me about that a bit?
So we are already selling kids wear.
Uh-huh.
Kids wear actually came into existence about 10 months ago.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, the main reason for kids wear to come into existence was not because the mothers had been telling us for a while now,
Yeah.
with their own set of problems, but we also realized that after the rough time of COVID and the pandemic,
Yeah.
we still wanted to support our team because we have an in-house team. And
Mm-hmm.
throughout COVID, we did not fire, like not a single staff was fired. We sustained them all. We took care of them. But then eventually we also wanted to make sure that the brand made some business so that, people could have been taken care of well.
Yeah.
And that was probably the only thing that could have done that. So
Mm-hmm.
we did launch our kids wear finally. Although we
Yeah.
did have a lot of mothers who had been telling us for over a couple of years now that, why didn't you do kids wear? And the reason why they believe that kids wear could have been very effective is because one simple thing that mothers are always complaining or crying about is that the child drops food on their clothes and it gets
Yeah.
dirty.
Yeah.
And every time they're stepping out of home, they would have to carry at least 3 to 4 extra changes with them. So over here, there were mothers who reached out to me and they were like, Niti, you know what? Why don't you do dresses? Because if the child has just dropped some food, we can just simply wipe it off and turn it inside out so a child still looks pretty and clean.
Yeah.
And, till the time the garment is not wet, we can always reverse it inside out and make the child repeat it and wear it at the same event. We don't have to literally carry like 4 pairs of changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So people were believing in that, or else a lot of mothers were like, you know what, Niti, that is a garment, but like our child outgrows it. We're not able to
That,
use it enough. So we were
mm-hmm.
giving them reasons to reuse it more. So
Okay.
that's how we were finding our own spaces to, make sure that the product was reused well. And yeah, I mean, kids still look clean and nice. So that's the entire story behind Twee Kids. And I think another thing what also makes me very happy is when I hear like tiny 3-year-olds also say that, you know what, Auntie, we love the magic and we
Uh-huh.
totally twin with our mother and we love doing the magic around. So there are a lot of like a bunch of kids who also call it like the magic dress. And
Okay.
we absolutely love the fact that they feel magical and like fairies and princess when they wear our dresses.
That's lovely. So, we've talked about your entire journey transitioning from a fashion consultant and then working in an Indian designing brand and then to Twee's entire history and what's been going on. But I want to know what are your future plans? Like, what are the plans in the pipeline? Where do you see the brand 5 years down the line?
Oh, 5 years is far. I think after pandemic, every small business has stopped calculating or making a 5-year goal because we don't even know. I mean, 2 years just went by and we don't even know where we were. So I think
Yeah.
5-year goal is a very long-term plan. But if I talk about Three's mission or vision, the only thing that we would want to do is to make sure that we make women happier, They don't get
Okay.
a reason to complain that they don't have clothes to wear or they don't
Yeah.
have the place to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
And we at least wish to be there in every second wardrobe across the globe. So that is something that we're trying to cater to, because it's not just about selling Twee clothes, but it's also that Twee is a slow fashion brand where
Yeah.
we are trying to explain to people that it's okay not to shop every week. You need to slow
Yeah.
down. You need to repeat your clothes. It's okay to repeat your clothes. We are offering you different looks, but
Yeah.
please don't dispose them off so fast, because I think everyone, especially during the pandemic, has realized that fashion is known for polluting the planet to another extent, So we
Yeah.
want to reduce that waste. We don't want your clothes to reach the landfills that fast.
Okay.
So we are on, that mission to explain people that
Yeah.
slow fashion can exist and still can be problem solving and can make you look pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. I mean, we're just hoping that we get more people around us to join hands with us and help us, get through this.
That's lovely. Also, Niti, like lastly, like you had a unique idea of this entire clothing line and then it came to life, so I'm sure you've gathered a lot of experience from your particular clothing line as well. So what would be your advice to any aspiring fashion entrepreneur watching your interview and who probably have that unique idea in them but are not able to put it into practice or are just getting started? So what would be your advice to them?
My only and only advice to any fashion entrepreneur, especially who wants to do something very offbeat, is
Yeah.
never, never, never give up. Believe in
Mm-hmm.
yourself. If you feel that your concept is right, if you feel very strongly that you're on the right path and you are going to do something that is going to contribute towards any cause, I mean, could be social, could be environmental, could be any cause.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you are contributing towards the field of fashion in any manner, just go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
There would be a lot
Okay.
of people around you who would pull you down, who would tell you that it's stupidity not to play a number game, not to make more money. It's
Yeah.
okay to make a few lesser million of rupees, but it's it's not okay to just be any other fashion brand.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't go into fast fashion. I mean, find yourself to be more meaningful and
Mm-hmm.
keep going ahead. Don't give up.
Okay.
So that's my only say.
On that lovely note, we come to the end of this interview. Thank you so much for taking time off and talking to me. It was
Thank you
great
so much.
and coming across such a unique idea and getting to know the story and how the work goes behind the scenes. It was really nice, and I'm sure a lot of people would be interested to know about your brand and how things work with your brand. So, thank you so much, and I'm wishing you all
Pleasure
the
is
luck for
all
all your
mine.
future plans. And hopefully more and more people discover about this unique brand because I've never heard it heard about anything like this until 3 4 days ago when I was asked to take this interview. So researching and going through your like feed and brand, I was like, whoa, this is awesome, this needs more publicity, everybody needs to know about this. And like you mentioned, every other wardrobe should have a product from Tween, and I'm sure it will. So wishing you all the luck for that. And once again, thank you so much on behalf of our entire
Oh,
team for taking time off and giving us this interview.
thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And I love to spread my story around. I love to tell people around that we are being a small reason for you to smile. So yeah,
Mhm.
go check out our brand.
Yeah, sure. And all the links to your brand will be dropped in the description below. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. Take care. Have a good day.